question is, make a comparative assessment of Greek perspective of justice with Rawlsian concept of justice. So this is about justice, Greek perspective versus Rawls. Greek perspective of justice is given by Socrates, Plato and Aristotle. Okay. So we need to compare Rawls with this. Among these three, Socrates only talked about the individual. And Plato and Aristotle talked about individual as well as state. Okay. Okay. So let us look at Greek perspective first. Socrates, Plato and Aristotle believed in man being moral and he can be happy, and if he can be moral and happy if he has the right kind of knowledge. This moral you can also see is just. So an individual can be happy and just if he has the right kind of knowledge. This is what Socrates said. What is said by Socrates is extended by Plato to a city-state. The way an individual can be happy, the way a soul can be happy, is also the way by which a city-state can be happy and just. How will a soul or an individual be happy? When the elements are in harmony. There are certain elements of an individual, and if those elements are in right relationship, they are in harmony. When they are in harmony, then that is justice and that is happiness. In the same way, extended, a city is just when there is a right relationship across classes between philosophers who are rulers and auxiliaries are the warriors, and third class consisting of farmers, craftsmen and traders, the first two being called guardians. So if the classes are led by philosopher kings, the wise people, then individuals are doing what their nature is, and individuals are happy, and the city state is happy. So a just state is a state where there is a harmonious relationship across classes. So this is what Plato also thought. And Aristotle goes a step further. Aristotle spends more time on virtues of individuals, virtues of persons. And one of the virtue, according to Aristotle, is virtue of justice. Virtue of justice to Aristotle is something within an individual as well as something in relation to others. To Aristotle, virtue is the best arrangement, character, or ability of something useful or available. So virtue is the best arrangement, character, or ability of something useful or available to Aristotle. So virtue is a character, and there are some virtues related to person and virtues related to relationship. Okay, there are virtues within as well as relational virtues. And of the many virtues that he discussed, virtue of justice is also a virtue. Virtue of justice is regarded as non-individual, individual, ethical virtue. What is meant by non-individual, individual? It is individual, but it is also related to a person's relationship with others. It is non-individual. Okay. For example, some good habit, okay, can be simply individual, but justice is not like that. Justice is in relation to others. So it is non-individual as well as individual virtue. Aristotle took virtues as something within an individual, and some virtues expressed in relationship with others. Okay. This is also called virtue ethics. with justice being one of the virtues. Okay, and so these virtues put together constitute character of a person. Okay, so in summary, we can say Greek notion of justice has two elements. One, personal, individual, and of city-state, that is political. Okay, so you can say this is psychological and this is political. Okay, and they thought in terms of harmony, and to Aristotle some kind of excellence. Or expression of essence to an individual. So this is what Greek thinkers thought. It is about harmony, happiness, excellence, personal as well as political. Okay, and good people make to good system, like in the sense that just people contribute to just system. Okay, just people contributing to just system. This is how Greeks thought. Okay, now come to Rawls. To Rawls, justice is not about goodness of individuals. It is not about virtues of persons. So this is one main difference between Rawls and Greek system of justice. Rawls is concerned about system, and importantly, it is a system only. It is system and system only, and this system is political system. Okay, and of course this political system ensuring how everything in the society is operating, how basic social structure is operating. So essentially, Rawls is about macro, social, political. Okay, not individualistic and psychological, and not about personal virtue. So Rawls is systemic and only systemic. And next, he regarded justice as the first virtue of the social institutions. He said, justice is the first virtue of social institutions. Social institutions, as truth is of systems of thought. Rawls. So, to Rawls, justice is of institutions and a virtue, first virtue. So, the first virtue, most important virtue of social institutions is justice. So, while justice is for the person and the system to Greek, to Rawls, it is of system only. This is one main difference. You may ask why Rawls is talking only about the systems and not personal. Because Rawls believed that he was only making a case regarding the way citizens should interact. Rawls is concerned about citizens. What is meant by citizen? Citizen as a member of political community. Rawls is not saying anything about man as total. His theory of justice is about citizens, not about people as total beings. Why was Rawls particular about this? Because Rawls felt people have variety of views. Hindu has some view of justice. He has dharma. Muslim has his view of justice. What Prophet Muhammad said. So, there cannot be a consensus on what is justice. So, let Hindus be Hindus, let Muslims be Muslims, but as citizens, they have to have or they have to share an idea of justice. So, man is more than citizen. And in fact, allowing man to be man, that is meant to be diverse, to hold their own beliefs and not to be forced by the state. All this is called pluralism. And pluralism is allowing people to have their diverse belief systems. And Rawls thought this itself is an aspect of justice. This is a basic right. Okay. So that is how Rawls' theory is also called political liberalism. Political liberalism. in the sense that the people accept these ideas only as citizens. They don't accept comprehensively everything about life. Okay. For example, this is supposed to be different from people like Mill, who gave certain justification to certain ideas on liberty, that God created like this, or variety of beliefs they proposed, and Rawls said they are not important. People don't have to hold such beliefs. Equality is a principle simply when they are relating as citizens. Whether the man is truly equal or not before God is not an issue. So Hindus may believe in inequality, Muslims may believe in gender inequality, but as citizens they have to believe in equality. So Rawls' liberalism is only a partial, is political liberalism, not comprehensive liberalism like others. So the point is, Rawls is saying that citizens should believe in these institutions. Okay. What that citizen is inwardly, what the citizen is morally, okay, what he is as a person is not important to Rawls. Okay, so Rawls' theory of justice is about the institutions where people have to relate as citizens. For example, when we go to a movie hall, people will give to anybody who gives money a ticket. Okay, so they are following a principle that whoever pays will get the ticket, but it does not mean movie hall owner believes in the equality of all the people. He is just implementing a rule that he is saying that in connection to seeing this movie, you are all equal. That's all. He is not making a philosophical statement on equality of man. And Rawls thinks his theory of justice is like that. It is not a philosophical statement on entirety of man. It is a statement on how as citizens they should believe. Okay, so Rawls' theory is for the citizens and not for the entire psychological behavior of man. So Rawls has nothing to say about morality or happiness or harmony within an individual. Okay, so Rawls' theory is partial compared to Greek theory, which is comprehensive. Okay, that's one. But of course, when Rawls talked about justice in the institutions, okay, we know this is the notion he had. Basic liberties more important than equality of opportunity, and more important than difference principle. Okay, so the essence of this we know is that liberties are important, but disadvantaged people need to be given a push, difference principle. We can very clearly say this is completely different from Greek justice. Greeks did not talk about egalitarianism. Okay, they accepted slavery. So, at the Greek time,
equality across classes was not important. Equality of man was not important at the time, but by Rawls' time or much before Rawls, equality became important, and by Rawls' time the idea of basic rights came, but basic rights were not leading to equality. They were accentuating inequalities, and so socialism and other things, and then Rawls came up with this idea. Okay, so obviously Rawls' theory is much more advanced than Greek notion of justice. Okay, but so obviously it is so, because this is much more advanced, this is modern, and that was ancient. Okay, so it's not really, you just can't simply compare with Greek and then say Rawls is superior. That is too obvious. But what is not obvious and what needs to be explored is, did Rawls miss something which Greek thought gave importance to? So the point is, was Greek thought superior to Rawls' conception of justice in certain important ways? That is a more interesting question. Okay, and I would say yes, Greek thought is important in certain ways compared to Rawls. Okay, why is it so? Now let us examine. Rawls is proposing institutions. According to the institutions, essentially give liberties and help the disadvantaged. And help the disadvantaged is right of the individual. It is duty of the state. So reservations in India are the rights of the Dalits and the duties of the state, according to Rawls, because it is the duty of the state is to provide justice, and it is a part of the justice is to help the disadvantaged. So essentially, Rawls is converting everything into rights. Is it? Women want to be equal to man, and the lower caste want to be equal to higher caste. Okay, poor people want to get privileges that the rich people. It is a matter of right and demand. So essentially, this became like give. Why are you not giving me? Why are you not giving me? Why are you not giving me? So it is always about somebody not doing something to you. Citizens complain, government is not doing. Lower caste complain, we are not equal. Poor people complain, no. Okay. What is this? It is simply legitimizing, using a strong word, just greed. Greed may be a negative word, but essentially people want to be something or get something which the people who higher than them have. Okay. So it is about asking, demanding, so what does it mean? Any person who has some touch of spirituality or knows anything about psychological growth will think this doesn't really contribute to inner evolution of man. Okay, you are always asking something. Give me that, give me this, give me this. There is no concept of kindness. There is no concept of compassion. There is no concept of fraternity. No concept of love. How will a man evolve? Man evolves by voluntarily giving out of kindness. Man doesn't evolve when the state is forcibly taking, or only when you are taking what you think is your due. So, do you know what it means? Finally, we have created a society that is actually wealthy, okay, with lot of freedom, but there is no sense of gratitude. We are coordinating in an immensely complex ways, but we don't feel a sense of gratitude. Okay. It is always about complaining. It's about fight over the distribution. Okay. Nothing, no kindness, compassion or love. It is about fight and rights. So, Greek thinkers won't say this is an evolution of soul. They would say, what is all this? Always greedy. And finally what happened? We have created highly consumerist societies. Okay, because there is no focus on inner movement. No. There is no focus on happiness. Happiness arising out of giving, arising out of sharing, arising out of cooperation. So, there is more and more distribution, there is no doubt. So, commitment to egalitarianism creates pressures for distribution, but all this distribution is not making people happy. They want more and more. And where is an end to this? Take for example climate change. Basic rights greater than equality of opportunity, greater than difference principle. This is, but tell me, how does it solve climate change? This is about people wanting more and more. Developing countries say no, we want more, and poor people say we have the right to develop. So this is only causing fight. Where is harmony? Where is happiness? Where is kindness? And the whole world is in disharmony. Economic growth. People want economic growth, but the more growth, climate change is taking us to doom. There is no harmony. And then the difference principle only gives rise to things like combined responsibility, collective responsibility, but differential, and it is a fight over climate finance. So Rawls has no notion of what is to be at peace, what is to be kind, what is to be harmonious, what is love, what is giving, how to evolve as a soul. And to say they are not my concern, it is the concern of your religion, I am concerned only about institutions. Then, my friend, how do you create institutions how do you create just so-called just institutions without just people? And if creation of just people is left to others, how do you want to create just institutions? So in the name of pluralism, you leave the entire morality, you leave everything to religions and traditions, and as citizens they have to be participants in the creation of just institutions. How is that possible? So the theory of justice is simply theory for the justification of more and more consumerism, greed, nothing more. It is not creation of a evolution of a soul. It is not a creation of higher consciousness of societies or of individuals. So Rawls' theory of justice is definitely not the last word. Not the last word. Okay. It is simply glorification that somebody else should give to you. It is not an inward journey. Whereas Greeks believed and gave much deeper meaning to justice. We should listen to Greek notion of justice and rejecting Rawls as the final answer on justice. And in this book, Plato's book Critias says, look at this, excellent virtues are more reliable than laws between which the orator cannot demolish the farmer but can topple over the ladder to be filled with words. Critias said, Critias is a book written by Plato. He says excellent virtues are more reliable, virtues are more reliable than laws, between which the orator cannot demolish the farmer, the virtue, but can topple over the ladder to be failed with. He is saying that virtues are more reliable than laws. Okay, whether the statement is right or wrong is a different issue, but Rawls' theory doesn't give importance to the virtues, It gives importance only to laws. Laws are nothing but expressions of institutions. So Rawls believed in creation of institutions without thinking, creation of good institutions without bothering about creating good people. And can institutions be run in a just way without creating good people? And when you say creation of good people is not my role, I have nothing to do with it. Okay, so Rawls' theory of justice is very, very narrow. Think about it. I'm Zing Huang. Justice as a virtue, an analysis of Aristotle's virtue of justice. So I am helped by this particular article which I came across through JSTOR.